Hi! Can you believe that I have been in Florida for over a year? I know I can't. Some of you have been in shock when I've mentioned that because it just seems like it's gone so quickly. So anyway, I decided that it was about time that I share some of my thoughts on what we expected, what we found out instead, and what our feelings are on living in Florida, coming from a Midwest girl. Quick backstory if you're not aware. My husband and I moved to Florida a year ago, January. It was January 14th, as a matter of fact. And so it has been, a year and 4 months that we have been here already. And we came from Illinois. We lived in St. Charles, Illinois, right outside Chicago, in the western leafy bits. And it's a whole different world here. We've lived in the Midwest our entire married lives. And it's just a complete different world here in Florida. And so when my husband got this job here and we decided we were going to take this leap and move to Florida, we were both pretty surprised by, we didn't know what to expect to start with. We had a preconceived notion, and for both of us, it was wrong. Neither one of us thought this was a place we'd ever want to live. We knew so many people who just talked about it all the time. I want to retire in Florida, blah, 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 Florida, Florida, Florida. We had visited several times, different places. We had been to Naples and to the Keys and to the Everglades and to Miami and to, various places, Fort Lauderdale and all over the place, Panama City. So kind of all over the Florida area. We had been to Disney a couple times, so we had thought that we had a good impression of what it would be like to live here before we moved. However, again, we were very, very surprised. So first off, I have a list kind of in general order of different bullet points. I'm going to be looking down at my list just to kind of keep myself on track as much as possible and try to hit all the bullet points that I was wanting to discuss. And first off, this is only our impression. This is only our experience. Everybody comes here with different ideas, with different family structure, with different everything. So this is what it's been like for us. The weather. We kind of had the idea that it was going to be hot and muggy and humid most of the time. And we knew that, and it gets very hot and very humid in the summers in Illinois also. So, not for as long as a time, but we still had the same amount of humidity and the same amount of heat various days throughout the summer in Illinois. So we knew what that was like. So we kind of had a feeling of what to expect. However, it's only that hot and humid in just about 5 months of the year, maybe 4 or 5 months of the year. It really did not bother us badly at all last year, which was our first summer here. We were very surprised by that. Sure, it's hot, but you go inside, you're in the air conditioning, you do things. If you're going to be outside, you do it in the morning or in the evenings. We still took walks in the evenings. It wasn't that bad. So we were pretty amazed by that. The other 7 months of the year, however, are absolute perfection. We're talking, fantastic weather. I think I wore a jacket a few times, never had to wear really a winter coat or anything like that, even though it can get into the 30s here. It's rare, but it happens. But it was just wonderful. But it was cool enough that I could wear my fall and winter clothes. I'd wear sweaters and jeans, but yet be able to walk out and get the mail with no problem. Didn't have to worry about snow, all that kind of thing. And basically February through April is the best part of that perfection. Absolutely the most perfect spring day you've ever had in your life for 4 months straight. It was just so good, so good. Literally to the point where my husband and I, almost every single day, it's become a thing. We just we'll walk outside and we'll check on something or whatever. We'll come back in and we'll say, another gorgeous day in Florida. And it's kind of become this thing we've said because it seriously happens every single day. There have been a few days that have not filled that bill, but in general, it is constant and we are amazed. So there's a dry season, November through May, basically. And there is a rainy season, June through October, basically. And then you've got your hurricane season right there down there in the, late August, September, October into November a tiny bit. And that, of course, is a bit scary. Now, I can only talk about my situation. We live in Central Florida, so we're talking the Orlando-ish area. I don't live in Orlando proper. We live in Windermere, but it's that right there in the Orlando area. So hurricanes, of course, for us in Central Florida aren't as scary as they are if you live on the coast, obviously. We did not have much of anything last year. There was one day that we were expected to get some high winds and some hurricane activity, and it was 9 o'clock in the morning, and for whatever reason I slept late. I got up expecting there to be massive, wind and so forth. I got up, I walked into the family room, I saw my husband, and I'm like, did I miss the hurricane? Did I sleep through it? It was nothing. There was nothing. So I'm sure there will be times, and it has been bad many places, in the area, bad enough to have some water standing and things like that. I do know that for a fact. So I'm sure we're in for it sometimes, but I don't believe it'll be nearly as bad as it has been on the coast for others. So centrally, hurricanes aren't as big of a worry for us here, which is nice. Now, the location of where we are in this part of the state, which is central, the great news is that you have that more centrally located bit in that you can kind of get anywhere you want to go easily. So each beach is, if we go to the east, the beach is about an hour away. You go to the west, it's about an hour and 20 minutes away. So you can go to either the Gulf side or the Atlantic side fairly quickly. For us, that's not a long drive. We do that in a day. We can go to the beach, have lunch, hang out a little bit, and come back. It's no big deal. So we really do enjoy that a lot. There are also all the theme parks, if you're a theme park fan, massive tons of restaurants everywhere, so many things to do, so many sports to partake in. There's a huge equestrian center nearby, so many natural springs where the manatees come each year, and they kind of do the wintry area there because it's warmer in the springs. We've gone to see the manatees both times, both seasons that we've been here that they've been there. It's been beautiful. And actually, just the flora here is spectacular. Just driving around, from going to stores, running errands. The Target parking lot is filled with these beautiful long stretches of palm trees. The flowers everywhere that are blooming all year round. It's kind of paradise for a person who's lived their whole life in the Midwest, which is beautiful in its own way. I love the Midwest. But it's a whole different kind of beauty, and for us, when you see those type of tropical flowers and palm trees and things, it just brings on a vacation vibe in your heart, because that's generally when you saw those things in the past. So it makes you sort of feel like you're on vacation all the time, and every day you're driving around thinking it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, the sky is so blue, the clouds are so puffy, and then these big white herons just fly by, and it's like, what is this? This is crazy. So loving all of that, for sure. For economics, we, of course, like most people, we grew up thinking that, oh yeah, Florida is extremely inexpensive. You can get so much more for your money there. There's no state income tax and blah, 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 blah. And you can find some properties, really good properties, for less expensive. Well, all of that changed during COVID. There still is no state income tax, which is wonderful, and that is a savings for sure. However, insurance rates have just gone sky high recently, especially with all the hurricane stuff that's happened on the coasts that has changed the insurance rates. Auto insurance, homeowners insurance, all of that has just gone sky high. So that is something to consider. Cost of living is also fairly high. I noticed here for 2024 that the Orlando area cost of living is higher than 83% of most of other worldwide cities. So I don't know what that means to you, but I know that it is higher than we believed it was first going into it, until we realized we were planning to move, and then we looked into it more. Prices have definitely raised. Home prices have gone up incredibly too, mostly because there's a huge influx of new people coming here. Apparently, Florida is the #1 state for people that people are moving to in the U.S. from other U.S. states this past year. It's been #1. So we're getting a lot of influx of people, and it's been raising since COVID started. So since 2020, basically, there keeps being more and more people coming here. A lot of that is due to some new industry. I know that the tech industry is really booming around here, and that's driving up house prices, and a lot of things are being built to the point where so much is being built that it's kind of hard to find people to work on your home sometimes too, because the workers are out building other places. So there's that to consider too. So cost of living is much higher than you've probably thought most of your life. It's not the cheapest place to live, but there are definitely more expensive places. So you just have to be aware of that and do your research on that one. There definitely seems to be a shortage of workers here. I know that's happened a lot of different places in the U.S. but for whatever reason, they do seem to be, I don't know if it's all the influx of people, but restaurants seem to be a little understaffed. It's kind of difficult to get into a doctor as easily as we could in Illinois. Things you have to wait longer for appointments, things like that. So just to keep that in mind, repair people, all that stuff, things are backed up. So it does take longer to do things here than what we're used to. Again, that may have changed all over the place, but that's something that we have definitely noticed since we've been here. When it comes to traffic, people who are Floridians have said, if they've been here for many years, that it has gotten horrible, and they're very upset by it. It used to be so much easier to drive, and they can get pretty upset and pretty heated about it. However, coming from where we lived outside of Chicago, it's normal. This is not a large amount of traffic for us. It's just sort of the way what we're used to. So I'm sure it would be difficult if you were used to a much better pace of things. But when I asked my husband this, because I've asked him some of these questions too, he said that he feels that there's a bigger preponderance of distracted or inattentive drivers. And a lot of that could be due to the fact that many people vacation in this area from all over the world. They're renting cars, or they're snowbirds that come in only certain times of year, or they just don't know their way around because they're visiting, so they're trying to look at the maps and stuff while they're trying to drive, etc. That very well could be the case, but it's definitely noticeable for us in that respect. But in general, the traffic on the roads and things, it's the same as what we're used to. So it's not a big deal for us personally. I'm sure it's a big deal if you've been here a long time though. Bugs, critters, and gators. Yes, gators. That was the first thing we kind of looked into, and we were told that if there's a fresh body of water anywhere on your property, a small pond, anything, anywhere there's a fresh body of water, that equals gators. So there will be a gator there. You won't believe there is one, but apparently there is at least one in every fresh body of standing water. So just be aware of that. Don't, be walking your dogs up real close to one and go straight up to the water so your dog can sniff the water. That's not a good idea. That doesn't seem to be a problem for us. We never seem to go straight up to the water. Literally living here in Florida, and we live in an area that is surrounded by lakes. I mean, just you have to wind around everywhere to get anywhere because of the lakes. So it's tons and tons of lakes, all where we are. And I've seen 2 gators in the wild this entire year and 4 months, and my husband has seen 3. So that's it. So and they're just like far away. You see one kind of on the edge of a big pond as you're driving down the road, kind of a thing. Not the world's biggest deal. So that has not been a big issue. They're not coming to our front door or walking across our driveway or anything like that. So we have not found that to be a problem, even when walking our dog, not a problem, which is good. Other critters, in our neighborhood, we had in our front yard, by our front door, we had a bobcat or a lynx, this type of an animal. I'll show you a quick picture. It went fast. I got a picture of the back end of it, but another person, a family friend was visiting at the time. He was out there too, and we both saw it. He saw it when he came to the house, and I was coming out to greet him, and there it was, and I got a quick picture of the back end of it. But a bobcat was in our front bushes. Crazy. And we had a bear in the neighborhood because that was on the little neighborhood alert thing that we have on an app to watch out because a bear has been getting in people's garbage. So we had a bear, and we have had one snake that we found over by where my daughter was parking her car. So we've had a snake. One thing we had a ton of in Illinois are wolf spiders and mosquitoes. And here we've not had I don't think I've seen one single spider the entire time we lived here. And we have not had any mosquitoes either, no mosquito problems, which is wonderful. So I'm happy about all that, especially considering all the lakes we live around. So that has been fantastic. Okay, here we go. As for politics, whichever side you stand on, my husband and I were very, very concerned that once we got here, that it would be a lot of in-your-face politics and things that, people would be arguing their sides and so forth. You either love the governor or you hate him. It seems to be the growing thing around here. However, we are so pleased to see that no one talks about it. No one's wearing a bunch of shirts that say anything. We don't see signs outside people's houses. We don't hear anything about any politics. People we've talked to, no one talks about it. No one mentions it. No one throws it out there to anyone. So you can happily live without even thinking about it. If you don't look at the news, you won't even know that politics are happening here. So obviously you want to keep informed and know what's going on and so forth, and vote the way you want to vote. So it's good to be informed. However, it's very easy, which we didn't think it would be, it's very easy to not live a life of politics or even thinking about it much or even being encountering anything. We've seen one political t-shirt, and that happened to be on someone in Daytona at Bike Week, and that was it. So not a worry if you're concerned about that kind of thing. Now, as for whether you enjoy the politics or you don't enjoy politics and what that is, how that affects your life here, that's another story. That's entirely up to you. But it's not as, and it's definitely divisive. I mean, people have one side or the other that they're pretty strongly about, for sure. However, it's not in your face. You're not encountering any of that ever, unless you want to. Schools, I have no personal experience on schools. I know that there are many articles about it, so if you are thinking of coming here and you have children in school, definitely look into that, because I've heard some things, but I know nothing about it, so I don't really want to speak to that. That's not something that affects us, unfortunately, right now. I know it affects others, so I know enough about it when it comes to voting so that I can make informed decisions, but not enough to give any personal experience on that one. So basically, our general vibe here is relaxed, casual, laid back. You're in kind of a vacation mode vibe. I mean, even if you're working all day, you can easily then in the evening pop over to the parks and have dinner. You can sit by a palm tree at a park and have your dinner or whatever. You can walk in a beautiful, beautiful area with gorgeous trees and fauna and flora and all that beautiful stuff. You can go to Target on your way home from work and feel like you've been on vacation because there are these gorgeous palm trees and gorgeous flowers. It's just kind of a vacation feel. They also say that Floridians are in the Blue Mind group, which is, there's a book called The Blue Mind. Basically, it means that people who live in, on, under, around any body of water, even if it's your bathtub that you're in all the time, any water is good for the soul and definitely helps a person become calmer and happier. So whether you believe in that theory or not, that is something that is talked about a bit around here, especially if you live on either coast, but even living next to a pool or whatever, and being near water, hearing water, waterfalls is a very, very good thing, apparently, for just a good feeling in life. And I don't know, I kind of feel like that has happened to me also. Yeah, loving it. One thing I really like too is the people here. You encounter people from all over the world, locals and visitors. So it's wonderful to have conversations with people from everywhere all the time. And it's just fascinating. And everyone gets along so well from what we've noticed. And in our experience, people are just happy. They're happy to be here. You know, I mean, even with the daily struggles and some of the cost of living and things, you know, things will get you down. But in general, they come at you with a happier attitude than we were expecting, which is a good thing. People from different walks of life and different parts of the world just seem to be happy with one another here, which I'm very, very happy about. I'm very happy to see that. And people seem to be more active than what we're used to in Illinois, just because the winter is so long, you can't be outside as much unless you happen to love snowshoeing or something like that. But people are definitely more hiking, walking, running, jogging, boating, swimming. You know, people are out and about, walking their dogs, we have a lot of people doing a lot of exercise walking in the neighborhood every day. There's a specific man who walks so much, it's amazing, and his dog Spotty follows behind him about 2 houses behind. He's so cute. But people here generally want to get out and about. It's so nice that you want to. So yeah, walks after dinner, things like that just happen a lot more here than they ever did in my life before because of the weather and the situation. And it's just, there are so many places to go, so many little parks, so many nature preserves and things like that, that it's just really, really nice. All the nature, the bike trails here are fantastic. There's just so many miles of bike trails. We've been partaking in a lot of those. So it's just been a good time for activity, relaxation, weather. We've really been enjoying it all. So in general, I'd have to say we are extremely happy being here. Will we live here forever? Probably not. We're not ruling it out. We have other places we want to experience and go to in the meantime, but we may end up here for a long time. We're not sure, but we're going to enjoy every second of it while we're here, and we're very, very pleased. Both of us have been surprised, quite surprised at how much we are enjoying it here in Central Florida. So thank you. If you have any questions, let me know. I will be happy to do the best I can to answer them for you. But I just want to give you my general feelings about everything and how it's been working out for us. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you guys again real soon. Bye.